But you're talking about vintage diversification. Can you double click on why that matters?
The majority of the returns are driven by a single company or the top company in a portfolio, by the very few winner companies like Canva, etc. I think one of the things that's much less understood is how much of an impact the vintage has on the returns. And so there's some really good data out there that talks about a second power law, a vintage power law, and something like 80% of all of the returns in VC come from just 20 to 30% of the vintage years. And a vintage year is the first year that a fund calls capital and makes its first investment. So, my fund that I started this year is a 2025 vintage fund.
So it's like wine. Whenever it's like bottled, you put a year on it, and then that's the vintage.
Some years are just much better than other years. And the interesting thing is that we can't necessarily know that in advance. But I do think that there are some interesting factors that determine whether a vintage year is going to be good.